This is Maui Mojo. By the end of this video episode, you will understand how to have meaningful family retreats with a purpose. And we hold ours every 2 years in Maui. So get ready. I'm going to blow you away. So I'm Doug Andrew, and I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for nearly 5 decades. But if you have subscribed to this channel, and I hope you do because it's free, and I post an in-depth financial or three-dimensional video almost on a daily basis. So it's called three-dimensional wealth. Why? Because the financial dimension is only one of 3 dimensions of what I call authentic wealth. The other 2 dimensions have to do with the foundational assets. That's your family, your heritage, your beliefs, your virtues and values and talents and unique abilities and so forth. And the intellectual dimension, which is your wisdom and your knowledge and your experiences and education and so forth. So this is like a 3-legged stool, and I've helped many, many people sort of balance their lives because, unfortunately, a lot of people who just focus on money are out of balance. And I've witnessed way too many people who maybe accumulate their wealth at the expense of their health. And then later in life, they're spending all their wealth trying to regain their health. Or maybe they accumulated their financial wealth at the expense of relationships with their spouse, their kids, their grandkids, or their God. And at the end of the day, they're always wondering, what was all this for? I'm sort of bankrupt in 2 other areas of my life. So at three-dimensional wealth, we focus on all 3 dimensions. And so I like to take the wobble out of people's life, out of this 3-legged stool, by having them be balanced. And one of the most common and favorite concepts that I share when I teach families how to do this is how to teach your children and grandchildren and develop memories by holding family retreats or family vacations with a purpose. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about Maui Mojo because in our family now it's become a tradition to go to Maui every odd year during the years. Right now, the filming of this is in 2022. So our family is looking forward to 2023, which is an odd year, because now for more than 3 decades, my wife and I, we've been married now for 48 and a half years. And so about 32 years ago, we invested in a timeshare in Maui. And that was back when the timeshares were pretty reasonable. And we just go to Maui every year because our lodging's taken care of and so forth. And we've been going to Maui. We have not missed going there every year in February during the 8th week of the year for our wedding anniversary. So it's been a blessing. My wife and I enjoy our time over there. It's a 2-bedroom condo. And now that we're sort of empty nesters, we have that condo every single year. But on the even years, because we have that condo and we don't have the other 3 that we then acquired later, I'll explain how we bought those for pennies on the dollar. We take our grandchildren that turn 8 years old. And so some years we've taken 2 of them, sometimes 3 of them. And it's been the favorite family tradition for our grandchildren. The 2-year period where they turn 8 years old, we take the 8-year-olds and we have a family retreat with a purpose, and we're able to teach them one-on-one, and we have created some incredible family memories. But when we started this as a tradition years ago, we decided as our children started to leave the nest and they got married that we would meet in Maui every year on the odd years. And so we decided to acquire 3 additional timeshares just on the odd years. So we only go every other year to 4 condos, and on every year we have the 1, okay? So every other year and the odd years we have 4 condos. And this is where our adult children come over, and now they're grandkids, and we're up to now 30 in our family. and they know 2 years in advance that we're going to go to Maui. Now, just as a side note, we were able to pick up these 3 additional timeshares for pennies on the dollar because you don't have to pay retail upstairs, so to speak. In this particular resort, downstairs in the basement is the management office. And we simply went in and said, hey, who owns some timeshares that now there's been a death in the family or what have you, and whatever's happened to them, they just want out. And they're behind on their annual fees and what have you. And we would be a godsend to them if we just brought their annual homeowners dues current, or maybe their property taxes current, and they would just be glad to just give away their timeshare. Yeah. And so we ended up with a list of 20 or more of these types of people. And I think the most we paid for one was a few $1,000s. Another one we got for $1. And these people were so grateful, and still are to this day, because we brought their delinquent property taxes current, or their dues current, and we paid $1, and we took over their timeshare, and now we just have that lodging. So we were able to pick up timeshares for pennies on the dollar. And so we were able to do that. But why do we do that? Because this is a 5-star resort. It's always got a lot of demand. If we ever decided we didn't want to go, we could put them on and rent them that fast. In fact, I have rented out just one room of a 2-bedroom timeshare for enough money to pay for the expenses, maintenance fees for the entire year. So we can rent out one room and pay for the maintenance fees. So we have these 4 different 2-bedroom units, and also there's a hide-a-bed in the living area every other year. So our family comes, and what do? We have family retreats with a purpose. So what is that? Basically, we gather together as a family every morning in Maui, and we meet for about an hour. And generally, we have some type of a theme where we have a book that the family's been reading, and all of our adult children take a day, because we have 6 children, and so they all get a day, and then grandma and grandpa get one day. And we are the teachers. We are the facilitators of a discussion. So we usually have had topics like how to be an intentional family, or one year our motto was moments that matter. Another year, I had just gotten through publishing a book with my brother-in-law, Learning Curves, Life Lessons Learned while riding a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. There's 14 chapters in there. And so everybody took one chapter and taught the concept in the morning and one in the evening. And so we always usually have some kind of a life lesson that we teach, or a discussion for about 40 minutes. Sometimes just the adults are there. Other times we have the children, and we have a children's story in the morning, a children's activity maybe at night, or versa. And we then have sometimes a nanny. Many times we'll take turns where we are entertaining the children over in a side room, and the adults are talking adult talk. But people sometimes go, oh, my family would never go for this. They want to go just lay on the beach. They just want to go play. We don't want to go learn. I assure you, they may resist it at first, but they will love it, because what do we do the rest of the day? We may meet at 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the morning, or 9 to 10, but then we go out and play. We scuba dive, bike, hike, golf, fish. We do all kinds of things. And then we gather together for dinner, and usually have an early bird dinner. And we do I remember when memories during dinner. What are those? We take turns as a family, and during dinner, every one of our children and their spouse, and now their children, share 3 I remember when memories. And we record them, or they bring them typed up. And these are just short little memories. I remember when we went to Disneyland, or we did this, or that, or the other. And they tell their life experiences. And everybody comes with 3 I remember when memories that they share in a minute or two for each. And we collect them. We used to do them all in one night. You can't do it all, because it triggers other memories, and everybody laughs and cries. And the first time we did this, the banana splits just out over there and melted, because it went on and on and on. So now we divide it up into 7 nights at dinner. It is the favorite activity And we record these, and our family record now is this thick, filled with I remember when memories that we recorded, we transcribed. Now they come with them actually typed up. And each memory has to be on one page. That's an I remember when. That's dinner. After dinner, and we tuck the kids in bed after a story, then the adults usually have a conversation for about 40 minutes on some of the concepts that we talked about, moments that matter and what have you. And so we gather in the morning, we go play all day. We gather in the evening for dinner, do I remember whens, and then have a conversation as adults. It has been incredible. But let me share with you one tradition that has been a game changer. So in addition to having a theme and gathering together every morning for 40 minutes as adults and 20 minutes with the kids, and again in the evening and the I remember whens, we as a family have an annual tradition when we do this, especially every other year in Maui, of gathering on Sunday. So we're Christian. We go to church, we come back, we have a light lunch, and then we gather together under this pavilion. And this is our favorite tradition. We go around as a family and basically do what I call the opportunity breakthrough exercise. And you can get a copy of this worksheet if you'd like. I have 22 tools that we use on family vacations. How does this work? I give them about 15 minutes and they will all take time to write down, okay, imagine we are sitting here 2 years from today, which we will be doing, okay? 2 years from today under this same pavilion, and we're looking back over that 2-year period to today. I want you to write down what has to have happened in your life for you to be happy with the progress you made. Now, sometimes I have them write down what has to have happened financially, okay, physically, spiritually, socially, emotionally, or whatever. Sometimes I will say in 10 relationships, your relationship, what has to have happened in that 2-year period in your relationship with deity, with God, with your parents, or your siblings, your children or your friends, with your physical body, spiritually, with the community, with school, so forth. And so they write down what has to have happened in their life for them to be happy with the progress they made. And then I go through the breakthrough exercise. What's breakthrough? B.R.E.A.K is an acronym that stands for barriers, resources, experiences, actions, and K is knowledge. They write down the barriers that have to be overcome in order to achieve that goal. Let's say they want to lose weight. Let's say they want to write a book. Let's say they want to get a degree. They want to do this or that. They want to become a better tennis player, whatever it is. They write down what are the barriers that they have to overcome, what are the resources that they need to draw from, what are the experiences they're going to have or need to draw from, what are the action steps they need to take, and what knowledge do they need to draw from or obtain in order to achieve that goal. Because when you fill out a breakthrough formula, the chance that you'll achieve that vision or that goal goes up dramatically from about 55% up to over 90%. Then what do? Everybody goes around and shares 3 of their goals. If we were sitting here 2 years from today, what has to have happened with this goal, and this goal? Everybody shares 3 goals. It is the biggest payday for parents of the year. How? I'll give you an example. 2 years later, when we gathered, my son-in-law said, let's take a moment and report on what we said we wanted to accomplish in the last 2 years when we were here 2 years ago. I said, good idea. Starting from our oldest, she was able to get some things taken care of in her life that she didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, with difficulties in her marriage and with her daughter and so forth that had come to fruition because she had written down specific goals and what she needed to do. It was incredible. Our second child, a daughter and her husband, under the financial goal, they were able to acquire a brand new home, get into schools and make new friends for their family. It was incredible. Our next child, a son, he and his wife have been trying for 5 years to have a baby. And they were ready to do in vitro fertilization if they needed to. But because they shared that goal as a family, we all prayed for them and exercised faith. They had miraculously conceived in the previous 2 years and had a little baby boy. You couldn't convince me in a million years if they had not shared that goal and had the support of the family that they could have achieved that goal. Our next child, a son, he wanted to find a spouse, okay, a wife. And during that 2 year period, he found one and they were married and had their first home. It was incredible. The next one, they wanted to be able to get into the medical school with her husband and be able to not run up a bunch of student loan debt and acquire a home where he went to medical school. And all of that had been achieved. Our last daughter was also wanting to make a decision on who she should marry. And she was able to find the husband of her dreams, and they were engaged and getting married. All the way down the line, one of the goals that they had written down 2 years earlier had come to fruition. This is how to consciously train the mind and body to unconsciously act in harmony with your family values and vision. That's why we have family retreats with a purpose, because we have an atmosphere where we are able to share goals with abundant-minded people who can be support groups to make sure those goals come to fruition. And that's our favorite tradition on Sunday afternoons every other year in Maui. And it only takes about an hour after church to gather and do that exercise called the Opportunity Breakthrough. Folks, if you want to learn more about this and all kinds of other ways and see sample agendas, I want you to claim a free copy of this book called Entitlement Abolition. In this book, I have an entire chapter about how to conduct family retreats with a purpose. And so you can claim your free copy to this book by going to entitlementabolitionbook.com or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount toward the shipping and handling. I will pay for the book and I'll fire out a copy to you. There's also options there where you can listen and learn, watch and learn. There's even an 18-hour masterclass that I've done on entitlement abolition to help you be able to understand how to apply life-changing principles for you and those you care about, like family vacations with a purpose.